Hello, everyone. My name is Allison Coe. I'm a hypnosis practitioner here in Portland, Oregon. I work with clients all over the world. Today's session is from a client in Hawaii. She was born and raised there and is raising a family there. She had a beautiful session with, with trees. And she is not the only one. I have to tell you, this is a trend that has been running through my sessions for the last 5 months. I cannot tell you how many sessions I've had where clients talk to trees almost the whole time. For this session, I'm only going to include the part prior to speaking with the higher self. In the parts where we speak to the higher self, it's mostly personal information and a reiteration of what she's saying when she's talking to the trees. And so I think the potency will be in the delivery of the message from the trees themselves. I may give 2 little excerpts from the higher self just because they are meaningful, they are powerful. But other than that, please listen to today's message from the trees. And I'd like to thank everybody's support, lovely comments from all of my YouTube family out there. Thank you so much. Thank you for your private emails as well. I'm just so happy all of you are out there doing this work with us. It's a hard time, but it's also a beautiful time, isn't it? Let's see what other, thank you especially to my client. Thank you so much for allowing this message to come out. It's so beautiful. And it was really touching being a part of this. If you haven't heard me do these sessions before in these videos or non-videos, they're not really videos. If you haven't heard me doing this delivery before, just know I'm reading both my client's part and my part as the practitioner. All right. Let's begin. My client arrives outdoors, and I'm asking her about this area, and she says it's a forest. What does the ground look like at this place? Well, it's the forest ground. It's dirt, but it's soft under my feet. So it's really nice, like mossy and soft earth, but not cold. It's really comfortable to walk barefoot on, not full of sticks and rocks or anything uncomfortable. Soft. Do you get the sense that your legs are covered or bare? It still looks like my legs. They're bare. All right. And let's keep moving up. We'll move on up to the midsection. Is that area covered or bare? It's covered. I have like a little fairy outfit on. Just a simple little cloth. And let's move on up to your head. It's also bare. I have long hair. I still look the same. I look like myself. Are you carrying anything? No, not carrying anything. Do you have any jewelry or ornamentation on your body? I have little fairy wings. I feel like there's something around my head, maybe like flowers, like a flower headdress. Do these wings seem attached or unattached? They just feel like air. I mean, I don't really feel them, but I can see that they're there. My mind must control them. Try moving them. Yeah, they're just like little Tinkerbell pixie wings. What can they do? They make me light as air, completely light, like I can float in the air, just like you float in water. They make you feel really free. Beautiful. And as you kind of float up in the forest, what can you get a different view of your surroundings? Yeah, it's just trees, 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 as far as I can see, but they're encircled around me. Well, it's just trees and it's nature, but it's configured around me like a Stonehenge, like I'm in a circular clearing and it's just a circle of trees around me as far as I can see. What do you feel when you look around? Peaceful. It feels safe, clean, pure, very pure. What does the sky look like there? I have to go up really high through the canopy to see the sky. Okay, is that something that you're able to do? Well, it's just all covered up by canopy, so I have to keep going higher and higher, and the canopy just keeps going. But there is sky through there. It's blue, but it's not bright because there's just so many shadows and shade in the canopy. Let me know when you get up that high. I'm right at the top of the canopy, but I feel like I'm a little afraid to leave the canopy in the forest. I'm a little apprehensive to go into the open sky. Interesting. What do you feel would happen if you went into the open? I would just be out of my realm where I'm most safe and most comfortable. I would be above the trees rather than down on the earth. And even though I can go there, I feel like I'm mostly supposed to stay down on the earth where I'm meant to be. Is there danger at the top that you know of? There could be. I've been told there's danger up there, but I'm not really sure if that's true. So you've never been up there before? I've definitely peeked a lot of times. I've been curious. I just see the trees go on and on and on, and it's just empty up there. Down in the forest, there are so many trees and beings of life. It's so full of things. And then over the trees, it's just kind of open and empty. So it's not as comfortable for me. What is your favorite thing to do in the forest? It's just to be in the forest, just to walk around. I really like the feeling of my feet on the earth here. It just feels really connected. Every step I take, it just feels so welcoming to be down on the earth amongst the trees. I'm curious what it feels like to touch the trees, if it would feel any different than normal. Yeah, there's a lot of energy in every tree. It's almost overwhelming, so it's hard to touch them all the time. Every time I touch them, I'm feeling a lot of things. Can you describe some of the things you feel when you touch the trees? I actually feel sorrow or sadness for everything the trees have seen, everything the trees know. They're really vulnerable. So I feel like it's hard to feel all that each time I touch them. It's a little scary. Can they just communicate with you without those feelings? Yes, they can. I'm curious if they wish for you to know anything today. Yes, that we're really connected, and I'm sort of a guardian and a protector of them. They need my help. I'm one of them. I'm also their protector. Tell me how you protect the trees. What is that process like? Just being with them, being there. Like when you're in the forest with the trees, you can't really think of anything else. So just being in their presence and paying attention to them, not paying attention to anything else. I'm listening to them and I'm noticing them, and they need someone to notice them. They're full of history. They're full of the story of everything that's happening here, and no one's paying attention. Would they like to tell us some of their story today? Some of our story on Earth? Yes, they do. They really want to tell the story. There's just not that many people that can understand them or hear them. There's not that many people that listen to them anymore. They really want to tell their story, but I can't really understand what their story is. I sense sorrow. They're sad that we're at where we're at right now. That's all I can make out of it. They're full of so much power, and they've been just so ignored and not paid attention to. So there's sorrow about that. For those who can pay attention to them, what would they like us to do with them? To spend more time with them, just protect them, and especially the ancient trees, the trees that grow really, really big, that make the top of the canopy. I mean, we need to not cut them down. We need to leave their home alone so they can keep growing. As they grow bigger and bigger, what they can tell and what they know keeps expanding. They really need space to grow. Beautiful. And you said they're sad for what's happening right now, for where we're at right now. From their perspective, where are we at right now? We've forgotten about the trees. We've forgotten about these powerful ancestors. They are our ancestors, really. They are our family, and we totally forgot that. So they're sad for the connection they lost to humans. That's why they're sad. They're sad for humans. How did humans used to connect to them? Well, we used to revere them. There used to be more trees than us, so they were really important. We lived in these canopies, and our survival was all about these big ancient forests. So now that we don't need them for our survival, we forgot about them. We don't listen to them anymore. So we lost the connection. We don't live in the trees anymore. Do they remember how our connection was lost? Yes, they feel like humans kind of forgot about them. It's like a parent when your kid all of a sudden becomes a teenager and you're not cool anymore and they don't want to be with you and they don't listen to you. And in fact, they want to do almost the opposite of everything you've taught them. That's us humans. We've just kind of lost our way from them, but we can come back. They know that, and they miss us. What caused humans to break away from the trees? We were tricked. We knew these trees were so valuable or so important, and we got tricked into using the trees for other things that didn't protect the trees. So we lost our reverence for them. We started to use them for other things, and we started cutting them down. We started cutting them down. So we cut off our connection. Who tricked us? It seems like they're humans, but they're much, much more advanced. They're like us. It's like a city, modern, technological, advanced beings wanted the trees, and we got lured into the glitz and glam of their technology and their sophistication, things we'd never seen in the forest, and we started to want that. So we traded the trees to get more technology, more advancement, sort of like being drawn into the city. Did these beings know that we needed the connection to the trees, or were they doing it for other reasons? Yes, they knew. They intentionally lured us out. They lured us away because they knew the trees were so powerful, were so important, and they wanted the trees. They wanted our trees. So they lured us into wanting something different so they could get our trees. How would life be different now since so much has been lost? How would life be different if that didn't happen? Well, we would have still forgotten how important the trees were either way. So in a way, it's good it happened because it kind of made us realize really abruptly, really intensely, how much we needed the trees and we missed them, rather than slowly forgetting and slowly losing our connection. It made us realize our mistake faster because it was so abrupt. What are some next steps that they would like humans to do in order to bring that balance back and that knowledge back, that connection back? Just to give up the city and the technologies and the things that we were lured to. We have to try that. We have to experience that. Or we had to try that. We had to experience that. And now we realize we missed the trees, and that's where we belonged. So they just want us to come back and connect again. It's just that simple. We don't have to fight the people who tricked us. We don't have to destroy what they have. We just have to come back home to the trees. And once we realize that and connect again, we'll be safe again. And we won't ever make that mistake. We needed that lesson. Is there anything besides protection that the trees get from humans? Well, just their survival. They really wouldn't have anything to live for if they didn't have us. So it really is like a parent to a child. They're living to see us live, and they just want us to come home and know that we're safe and that we are together. Beautiful. Thank you. Is there anything else they would like to tell you today? I seem to be alone, meaning I'm the only human there with all those trees. So I'm wondering where my other humans are. If they're all in the city and I'm the only one that came back to the forest. I'm trying to find the connection to the others like me. Let's ask the trees where the others are. Yes, everyone was taken to so many different places. They're all over the place. They're all finding back their own forests and trees, but everyone's finding it alone. So everyone is slowly being called back to the trees, but all of us are finding it alone. They're telling me that we're not really alone. It just looks alone when you're just in the forest, surrounded by all these trees, but we're not really alone. They want to tell me we're just not in the same place. I guess it'll never be how it was before when we were all in the same place in the forest. It's different now. We have to accept that. We know now is changing, though. Now is always changing. I'm curious if they would like a hug from you. Yes, they do. I'm hugging the tree right now. It activates the circle of light around the tree. They're really just full of light inside the trees, just under their bark. It's really just pure light hidden within the trees. Really powerful light. It's like the trunk and the bark are just something to cover that intense light and hold it in. Something really dense and dark has to cover it. It would just be so overpowering if it wasn't covered by the exterior of the tree. So every time I touch it, physically make contact with the tree, I just feel light. Really almost overpowering, intense light within it. And do you give light back to them? Like, do they feel any light from you? It's like I take that light and I calm the light down so it can express outside of the tree and not be so overpowering to the forest. So it's like I help the light express and filter out of the tree in a more toned down, earthy way so that's not so overpowering. Beautiful. That's amazing. Is there anything else that they would like to share with you or show you? Well, I just keep feeling the ground. It's kind of mossy and kind of moist. And I just keep thinking of water. It's like the light from the tree is so bright and hot, but when it comes into contact with my energy, it's almost like I turn it to water, like dew. And then that's what makes the soil and the forest and the earth just so moist and full of life. It's like I can transmute the light into essence and water. Otherwise, everything would just be dry and bright and hot. So I have to transmute it to water so that everything can just stay moist and juicy and fertile. Beautiful. And does that happen subconsciously or does that have to be a conscious action? No, it's subconscious. It must be what we're made for to do for this tree to help them to help their light express on earth. They need us to do that transmutation. I can't find the not right word. They need us to transmute that intense light energy into something of the earth and its water. So I don't do it on purpose, and I didn't even know I was supposed to do it. But I realize what I'm doing when I touch the trees. That's what it is. There's dew under my feet and the earth is moist, and that's because I'm touching that light, and the energy of the light is doing that. Wow. And you have to touch the trees for this to happen? No, actually, but I just didn't realize I was doing it till I touched the tree. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I understand when I touch the tree because I see it. I see the light, feel it in my hand when I touch the bark, and then I feel the dew and the moistness under my feet. And I know that it's all connected, but it is moist under my feet all the time. I just didn't realize. Beautiful. What, if anything, does it do for the human energy field to be connected like this? Well, you would never be sick. I can tell you that. You would never be sick if you're in touch with the trees. They have every medicine that we need, and it's just balance. When we are there in the forest with the trees, our energy field is just balanced. Don't really need anything. I don't even think I need to eat or drink the water. It's just somehow through the light and the trees and the elements, we just harness all the energy that we need. Beautiful. Would they like to tell you anything else at this time? That I am needed. I am important to them. Really important. I don't know why I'm here alone in this forest, in this place. It feels like I'm in a really sacred place of the forest, and I must have been there before, or there's some reason I'm there in this really sacred area of the forest. It's hard to put my finger on why. They could tell you if you want. It's telling me I'm important. They're telling me I really have a role to play. Maybe not many of us can feel what I feel when I touch the trees still. Some of them may have lost the feeling, the remembrance, but I still have it really strong when I touch the trees. So they need me to remember to sort of bring that connection back online. Would they like to tell you anything else about bringing that connection back online? Any steps that you should take? Just being with the trees. It's pretty simple. Actually, there aren't any steps. It's just what I am. So it's remembering. The feeling I get is it's so simple. It really isn't a lot of steps or a lot of things. And there's just one thing. There's just connecting to the trees. I guess the reason we got tricked, or how I got tricked, is I thought there was something else. And the trees know so much, and I always knew the trees knew so much more than me. So it made me think there was more. And that's how we got tricked. And now that we've left and come back to realize there wasn't really anything more, and that's what the trees always knew. They mentioned that you in particular have a certain connection to them because you remember. Is that correct? Yes. It's like my crystalline structure is designed in a way to be a harness, a conductor, as something to connect to their energy. And somehow my crystalline structure is still intact, more so than others. And that's why I still have the ability, because it's still intact. And does it matter to them if you are just in your backyard connecting to trees, or do they want you to actually go into the forest? Both. I can connect to them anywhere, but there are sacred sites. There are sacred places that they want us to return to. So they do want me to find, they do want me to help realign something. What are some of those sacred sites that they want you to connect to? And do they want you to specifically realign those sacred sites? Is that what they're saying? I think so. I keep seeing Stonehenge, so I keep feeling like Stonehenge, but there's lots of Stonehenges. There are lots of places with these circular areas, stones and trees around them. So I keep sensing Stonehenge, but that there's many of them all over. They want me to find them. They want me to find at least one or more than one of these places, the ones that are still left in the forest. Some of them are probably gone or built over. Those will be really hard to find, but there are still ones left deep, deep in the forest, and there's something special about those places. And if I find them, my crystalline energy can help bring them back to life. I guess I just see almost like crystals, like powering up in those big stones in a circle, like they would just turn on. What happens when they turn on? It's activating the earth grid. It's turning on an energy source that's just been buried deep, deep in the forest. What would they like to tell us about those henges and where they came from? Do they know who built them or where they came from? Yes, they know. The trees were always there. That's why the trees have all this knowledge. They were there first, and they saw these things built. They helped build it. So the trees know that's part of the knowing that's locked inside of them. That's so hard for me to access. I don't know if I'm supposed to know or I'm going to know once I get there and can activate it. I'm not sure I have really understanding around it. I was curious if they'd like to tell you any of that today about these henges. Who built them? The ancient builder race. They're really, really ancient, but the trees were still there first. That's the thing. The trees were even more ancient than these. So the trees are an ancient builder race as well? Yes, that's true. Trees really helped build them. Like it wasn't builders, like with hands and tools. It was built, but it was really elemental. Like the earth built them herself. And what took them offline? Us, who knew how to activate them. We left. We forgot. We got tricked. And these places got built over, toppled over. People took stones. They just forgot what they were for. We lost that connection. We kind of disassembled them unknowingly. I see. So they want you to go where these henges exist, deep, dark in the forest or in ancient sites in the forest, and connect to the trees there. Yes. And touch the trees. Yes. It's like just my presence, the crystalline energy of my being. It'll be like clicking a piece into a puzzle. I'll just click into some energy grid. So it's as simple as going there and finding them, knowing they exist, and then seeking them out and finding them and going there. There's nothing special I have to do. I mean, there's no chant or prayer, or I just have to be there. And it'll just kind of activate this ancient code. I guess it's protection for the earth and for others. For earth, for the others that come to earth, for anything. It's like a perfect crystal geometric grid, like a tool. It's like all of these sites connect. And if you were to step way back and see the big picture, it's like a big geometric shape. They all connect. And it's basically like a portal or an energy center that is universal. Okay, so I have a few questions for them. All right. What about the henges where there is no more forest around them or wasn't a forest around them? Do they want you to do anything at those sites, or do they want others to do anything at those sites? They just want us to find them and to remember, to revere them, to remember how important they are. And it's like once we remember that, then the trees will start growing again and everything will start to come back. So it's not that I have to go plant trees there or do anything other than pay homage and remember the reverence. And it's like being in that mindset when I'm there is what will activate the crystalline grid. Just the reverence that we need to remember. Now, they say there was a pattern, a geometric pattern. Would that be a good way to start finding these by using a pattern across the planet? Yes, I've already been guided to start learning about ley lines and sacred spaces. And I realized that here, where I'm from, is an important one already. So I realized that I was born near one of these places, and I guess I've always been sensitive and feeling the presence of this. And now that I understand it better, I'm supposed to find more. And I bet when I find them, I'll find the people that are there that also were drawn to them. So it's like we're all just kind of alone, wandering through these forests, trying to remember. And maybe we'll all just meet up in this clearing, and we'll just sort of start coming out from the trees, and we'll find each other again in the center when we get there. We need to just keep finding these places. On this journey of finding these places, is there anything they caution you against doing? Not to get tricked again, not to be too attached or expect anything to happen there. It's just going to be a feeling, like a switchboard switching on. So I just need to go without too many expectations or thoughts or pressure or trying to figure things out. I just need to go with an open mind, and it'll happen. That's perfect. Thank you. Do they wish to tell you anything else about this journey and when they want you to start it? Well, I'm already on this journey, and it's going to be a long one, and it's what I came to do, even though I'm just remembering that. It's really the most important thing I came to do. It's just to surrender and connect. Very good. Do you have any questions for them? Well, I wonder if I'm supposed to build something. I wonder if I'm supposed to build a temple or rebuild something at these places. I wonder if I'm supposed to do something in the material world with it. What do they say to that? Well, the tree's telling me again, I don't have to do anything but surrender. But I sort of see it like once I do that and the crystals activate and everything comes online, it will start to build itself. Like I said, the trees will just start to grow and sprout again, and flowers will just start to bloom, and the rocks will just start to build into temples again. I don't have to do it with my hands, like physically build it. I just need to go there and activate it. Would they like to tell you if there are any of these sites in Jamaica or Tulum that they would like you to visit as well? Just a side note, my client has deep connections to Jamaica and newer connections to Tulum, but it was somewhere where she was drawn and she was trying to figure out why she was drawn there. Those are places for sure. I feel like it's just really lost. These places are really lost. Like everyone's forgotten about them. So it's like I'm completely on my own, just having to wander and find a place that I don't really know where to look. Just that I know I'll know it when I find it. So it seems really daunting. There's no locals to ask where it is. Nobody knows. There's no one who can tell me. And definitely with Jamaica, these places really need to be activated in places like that, where they've been so repressed, so hidden. They really need to come back online in these places. We know about Stonehenge, and we know about Tulum and the pyramids. We know about sacred places, but there are really sacred places and the places we don't know about that. Sorry, hold on. This sentence doesn't make sense to me. It's hard to read it. Okay, but we don't really know about those forgotten places that I'm supposed to find. Those are the places that are the key to bring them back online for all the dots to connect. What will they do to the people in those places when they come back online? They'll just start to feel again. They'll start to feel the love and the beauty when they're in the trees, when they're in the beautiful nature. They'll forget about the whole human suffering that they've been totally sidetracked into thinking is everything that's going on. And they need to think less about that and more about this whole other world. So it needs to come back online so that we can move back into this wisdom and away from the games and the suffering and the trickery. And how will it change you? How will this mission change you as you go through it and continue on it? Well, it'll make me feel really complete, like I'm living my purpose and I found the thing that I'm here to do. It'll give me a great sense of accomplishment. And it's like the thing, again, when your kids are teenagers and they're just kind of rejecting you for a while and they don't think you're cool and they don't want to listen to you. And all of a sudden they mature out of that and they come back around and realize, wow, my mom had good advice, actually. It's going to feel like that. Like my children are back. My children have found themselves again. They've come through that difficult patch. That's what I think it'll feel like. I'll feel like my children have come home. Would they like to tell you anything about how it may change you? Anything that you're not aware of that they know? Well, yeah, I just keep hearing that I have a great power in me. And I have a hard time with that because I don't want to think I'm more powerful than others. But I guess I have to go back to that parental thing. I'm not more powerful. I'm just in the position. I was just born into this position to be like a custodian or parent or guardian of this ancient knowledge. So I have this great power, but I'm not powerful over others. I was just given this to guard like a caretaker. It's my responsibility. Do you have any final messages or any final love or communication that you'd like to give them before we move on? I keep remembering this sorrow that's in the trees, and I don't totally know what it's about. I sense it's not only about the past, but there's just a deep, deep longing or a waiting feeling. It's like the trees just don't know how much longer they can wait type of feeling. So I feel a little, it's beautiful, but I also feel a sorrow that it's going to be so hard and it's going to take so long, and the trees have already endured so much. So it's hard. Do they know about the awakening that's happening on this planet right now since they see so much? Yes, yes, they do. Does that give them hope that more people will be doing this? Yes, it does. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Is there anything we can do that would give them even more hope beyond what they already have? Well, we just have to keep seeking these places deep in the forest. We can't be afraid of these places. It's our tendency to want to be afraid of these deep lost places, and they just don't want us to be afraid so that we can find them faster. They just need us to be willing to go there. Where does that fear come from that humans have for the deep, dark forest? It's loneliness. Well, lonely in the term of humans. I mean, we're just so outnumbered when we're there. Like I said, it's just thousands of trees around me. And if each tree embodies the wisdom of 100 grandmothers, then it's just so many powerful, wise, reverent beings. It's just almost overwhelming. We feel unworthy. So it's scary. We feel small. We feel really small and vulnerable and unworthy when we're in these big forests. And so we're afraid. And we go back to the city or to civilization or to our other humans where we don't feel so small, where we can feel big and powerful. So it's just that they're so amazing that it intimidates us. Okay, so it's just something we're going to have to deal with then? Yeah, it's just something like you just have to trust. Like you just start walking through the forest and you only have food and water for a few days, but you just have to trust that you have to keep walking and your provisions that you brought might run out, but you'll be provided your next provisions, but you don't know how. So it's kind of a leap of faith. You just have to keep walking deeper and deeper in the forest and trust that you'll be provided for and taken care of. Any final messages for you from them today? No. Okay. Let's thank them for all they've given us already. We thank the trees. Now, when we go on to the higher self, as I mentioned before, most of this is personal or just reiterating what the trees have said. But there is one moment where this client actually connects to a few loved ones who have passed, and she's asking for messages from them. And let's see, let me try to find it. There are some messages, and I asked them what they see. Let's see. I said, what do they see happening on the earth as this process continues with the trees, this process of reigniting these ancient sites? And then she's reiterating what they're saying. She's telling me what they're saying. It's like there's two things. It's like there's two realities. I'm looking down on the earth now, and you can see all of these hot centers, which are like cities. And I don't know if it's just construction or war or just this intense energy in all the human centers. And then there's all these dark areas where the forests are and where this light is being held. Actually, it looks like darkness. That's the trick. The cities look like light and brightness, but it's a false light. The real light is trapped in these trees and these dark, dark forests and these crevices and the untraversed areas. So it's like there's going to be a reality for the people that are in those cities that are embroiled in the human game. And then there's this whole other reality in the forest for those of us that are called back to the forest and like completely in different worlds. So that's kind of a cool image, the false light compared to the cool, dark forests. All right. And when we asked which was the first place she needed to go, they said Jamaica. Her husband of many years is actually from Jamaica, so she has a very deep connection to Jamaica and his past and his life and family there. So Jamaica it is. So I wish her luck on her journey. And I again want to say thank you to my client for allowing us to get this beautiful message from the trees and this beautiful message of their sadness that we've lost our connection, and they're just calling us home, just calling us home. Now, I know in the end part, I'll get some flack for saying, for saying that part of her session where they recommend that people go into the forest and trust that they'll be okay. Always use your own discernment. If you don't feel a calling to a forest, don't go. For those of you who do, start trusting a little bit more. I know I had started trusting years ago, especially when I started mushroom hunting. And it was just so fun to get kind of lost in the forest and just in another world. And you can just go for hours, and it's so fun. And it's just a trust that you're going to find your way out. And for me, that's always worked. And I wish you all the best. Thank you for listening to this, and wishing you so much love out there. And any other tree sessions, if they have messages for the world, I'll try to get those connected. They won't quiet down, man. I was like, man, these trees have a lot to say. I better get this out. All right. So I did it. And I'm sure I'll get more. So you guys take care out there. All right. And to the trees, I hope you guys connect to them soon. Take care. Bye-bye.